So welcome back. My name is Paul. I've been making a lot of videos on YouTube. A lot of people know my work. And I've been making this series about cosmic cycles. And so far, this is going to be the fourth one. And what I did was I kept some of the elements of the previous board here, and I wrote a bunch of new stuff, so I used this board for a few segments. And we've been talking about basically how our planet makes a cycle across the galactic ecliptic about every 26,000 years. And apparently we're going through that again, and the Mayan dates are coming very close. Now, we don't know if that's a real thing or what's going to happen, but whatever it did or could happen, we don't know about it much, because if something happened significant a long time ago, it was 26,000 years ago, and that means that it's really hard to figure out if, what was around at that time. Now, in this series, I'm going to start discussing some of the different energies and arrangements and things that are going on. And one thing I wanted to mention for sure is that aside from going up and down across the ecliptic, our solar system doesn't just go up and down like that. From the top down, looking from the top down, it also goes around like this, more like a spiral. So the entire solar system is actually going around like this, and it itself is going around in a spiral like this. And possibly because, let's say it's out at the edge of the galaxy and the galaxy is spinning, and let's say our Earth is right around here or something, then it may be slowly but slowly just getting flung off farther and farther away from the galactic center. Or on the other hand, it might be drawing in somehow, in some way. So it gets really complicated. Now, we have basically this system that's making this spiral over vast epochs. And even though a galaxy might look from the side something with what we call an ecliptic, in reality it's more like a three-dimensional sphere, and more like a toroidal rotating donut field with the ecliptic this way and a spiral coming one way this way, another spiral going out the other way, and these fields and all kinds of other kinds of energy. Now, the speed at which spin happens matters a lot, because you spin a certain speed and it's not going to do much. The matter is going to go kind of drifting along. If something gets really faster than that, then it starts to take on new properties, because it can't be matter anymore, in a sense, because if you spin, let's say you spin a saw blade, and you spin it really fast, eventually it'll get so hot that it will start turning into a hot metallic plasma, you might say. And from there on, it will split off into different vapors and gases and heat and light energy that comes out. And at some point, you take it all the way up to the very ultimate, and you have something that probably is some super exotic material that is basically condensed light, in a way. Something like we have lasers, we have a whole laser frequency spectrum, from the red, blue, green, so on. But this field, this energy that's coming out of the center of the galaxy or around now, it may not be evenly spread, for example. But there may be, very likely, just like you have Saturn's rings, there may be very likely something just incredibly exotic, pure light energy, containing all kinds of energy and colors and everything. And the light energy carries information and it activates materials. We know that light there's many different frequencies of light, and some plants need certain kinds of light, and some films need certain kind of light, and so on. Now, depending on the way the light is, what kind of light it is, if it comes across and intersects and passes through our whole system, our sun, let's say, for example, the sun might go through the ecliptic first, and then the Earth comes later, depending on where the Earth is in this whole thing. And then maybe the Earth is on the shadow side of the sun for a while and then comes out. So it's very interesting about the timing. Now, once again, since light carries information and activates our materials, it can activate DNA, and light is essentially consciousness, and this is all the mystics have said this. And now we almost have to say, well, it's light that's carrying all our information that we're getting. It's light carrying energy in our brain. There's light coming into our eyes. There's light in our machinery. Light is carrying information, but that's not the only thing carrying information. Sound is also carrying information. But anyway, so you have this vast field, and that's the important thing to look at, because our system has its own setup. Like our solar system is like a mini one of these, and imagine that in the middle of this, and then maybe we have a little solar system. This is the galaxy, and then you have a little solar system here, and then you have another one down here, and you have another one here, and they make patterns. They flow around an interior, in and out. I'm crediting Nassim Haramein, by the way, brilliant physicist and mathematician. But this is what we're discovering. This is some of what the ancient, teachings have said. When you read that, they say, well, the universe is kind of like a circulating, toroidal, floating, pulsing donut, jelly-like thing. I mean, it's hard to describe it, but that's what basically, it's electromagnetic, has all this energy, it's carrying light. So, when we think about these kind of things on a macro scale and you start looking into more, how does that pertain to where our planet is in the vast scheme of things, where our solar system may be getting an initiation? And there's a chance that that ecliptic has an incredible fine, incredible energy that may even in some way affect materials so that we float, or there's a quiet time, or matter has a quiet time, or some kind of really stunning event, because the material at the very exact place in the ecliptic has to be something otherworldly and other dimensional. It has to be superfine, because probably by now, if it's been circulating for billions of years, a lot of the actual big chunky debris like rocks and asteroids would have spun out of the system or gone one way or another. But to get back to, once again, the spherical nature of this, that there are planets and solar systems around in this whole circulating thing, and they follow a whole pattern which is sort of like geometric, like the way sound affects sand on a plate and makes designs depending on the frequency. So depending on what our particular frequency is of our galaxy, our massive system, then we have those are the patterns that we're in, and we have to figure those out. So go on to the next segment.